Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're here, you guessed it, you know why. The Dallas Wings have reactivated NaLyssa Smith and Tierra McCowan, and now there's a bunch of bigs in Dallas. Now, record scratch, you know it, you know why we're really here. Philadelphia is getting a WNBA team in 2030, and considering the amount that we talk about it on this show, the fact that we're finally realizing our future in the W for our great city needs to be discussed in an emergency. Before we get into all the details, Kristen, how are you?
I'm incredible. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
All of us, every single one of us.
I hope so. I hope you've all been waiting for it, listeners. We surely have. I know we have fans all over the country.
True.
But a team in Philadelphia, that's a team for everyone.
Yeah, I like that. Good branding.
Okay. No, I had such an amazing day at work, morning at work. I didn't know they were doing this press conference. I was in the bathroom right at 10 o'clock. I got back to my desk and I saw a notification at 10:05 that there had been a press conference announcement and that, you know, they announced the 3 new expansion cities. And like, I totally missed that it was even happening. So I had to watch the press conference later in the day, which I just watched on YouTube. You can watch it. It was pretty short. But I was having so much fun on Bluesky, responding to people, talking, so much fun telling my coworkers, breaking the news to our families.
Yes. It
was just a great day. Truly brought joy in a world where there's less joy.
Yes. Future joy. I'll get into all my feelings first, just getting this out of the way. If you'd like to contact us and let us know how you're feeling about the upcoming expansion news or just about your team that you already have in the W, you can send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. Check out our TikTok, ATBPod, and if you'd be so kind, leave a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you listen to. Please do so and help us grow this show because we're taking this baby to the moon now. I know that's for sure.
Now we have a purpose.
Now we have a a greater purpose. I just want to take a moment and shout out Michael Waterloo, who Bluesky as Pitch Mr. Perfect, who every week I read The Walking Bucket. It's his newsletter that he writes about the W and about women's sports and about other sports as well. And it was the newsletter today at 7 a.m. that dropped that put me on notice. There was a paragraph that said, you know, I've heard from some secondary sources that there's going to be some big news in the WNBA. I believe in correct real proper journalism, so I'm not going to say anything, but like keep your eyes out for news. So I'm like, okay, that sort of put me on alert. And like, I was wondering if it had to do maybe with Portland. We're releasing a pod later in the week where we talk about Portland expansion and some things about Philly that we're probably just going to end up cutting from that pod. But I was like, okay. And I throw it into our little group chat and I'm like, who knows what this could be? And then sure enough, at like, whatever it is, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, bang, there's the news. And it's the commissioner of the WNBA saying, we are excited to have a future WNBA team in Philadelphia, amongst other cities.
Well, that was funny.
In the coming years.
Kathy was kind of funny at this press conference.
You going to give Kathy your flowers?
Because it was really funny to me because it was a guy from Cleveland, a guy from Detroit, and then it was Josh Harris. We can get into that, whatever. He was there for Philly. And I don't think the Cleveland guy said anything about Philly. But the Detroit guy, when he was up there talking about Detroit, he said, "Oh, I'm from Philly, so I'm excited about Philly."
Okay.
And then he's like, "Yeah, me and Kathy are from the same town. She's from Philly." And then, of course, Josh Harris is like, "Yeah, my grandparents and my mom are from Philly." Mm-hmm. And then people in the audience are like, "Kathy, aren't you so excited about getting a team in Philly finally because you're from Philly?" And she was like, "Enough questions about Philly already."
Okay.
Because in a joking way, because I really think like Philly was not one of the first teams to put in a bid in this whole expansion situation.
No. Nope.
And I think it really came together in the past couple months or so when...
Well, yeah, maybe a year.
Yeah, but
Probably.
really like when Comcast got involved, when the whole stadium plan was more ironed out, where like the Sixers are building a whole new stadium in South Philly.
Right.
That was a whole thing in Philly of where is this new stadium going to be? When's it going to be done? So that absolutely played a part in this. And I think like everyone from Philly was just hounding Kathy nonstop about, we need a team in Philly. When's a team coming to Philly? You're from Philly, Kathy. You need to bring a team to Philly. And she's like, "Okay, I'll do it here." And so we just like demanded it. And here it is. And I'm not mad about that.
No, I'm not mad about it. Like, there are a lot of things that, you know, we have our ups and downs about Kathy Engelbert. We have, you know, previously discussed about Dawn Staley's influence and Wanda Sykes' influence in all of this, and they all get credit, a ton of credit here, of course. You know, us as Sixers fans, we have to credit Josh Harris as much as we, you know, have a complicated relationship with Harris and Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment and how we feel about how they run the NBA team, our Philadelphia 76ers. They nailed this. They made it work. They put a very, this is according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, a very, very lucrative plan that checked all the boxes on the table and said, here's a clear path to a stadium that can accommodate these women, that can accommodate these fans, that can bring a franchise to the city that the city has been asking for since 1997 and even before that. So he knocked it out of the park. And of course, you know, the phantom Comcast, other 50%, whoever that may be, thank you too. I mean, of course, we're thanking these billionaires and these mega corporations, but like
Today
it is meaningful to the city for sure. Today you get a pass.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like the amount of people to reach out to us and just say, we know how excited you must be. Like congratulating us. We've been fans of the W for a year and a half. And like people think about us as like this duo talking about how much we want a team in Philadelphia. And you know, there's some stolen valor there, but like, I am so glad that we're here, that we decided to be here, because it makes it all the more worthwhile.
Yeah. I do want to share some of what Josh Harris said in his little speech, because you didn't watch it, right, John?
I did not. No.
Well, I thought it was actually really good. Like, he said it was not just a nice thing to have a team in Philly. He said it was an obligation that we brought a team here.
Spitting.
He was the only one out of the three to bring up that they are trying to uplift and inspire girls. It's like, oh, that's good to mention.
Yeah.
Because then the other two after, then they talked about it.
Oh, yeah, we want to do that too.
Yeah. But he said it first, which was nice.
Okay.
And he said he is so honored to be part of the league and a part of this bigger movement.
That's right.
So, as much as we can disagree with this man, I think he at least is making it seem like he's really like invested in this right now.
Hell yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm like all over the place because I was just like so much excitement.
Well, they have they came out with a video
Oh, I was good. That was it. I was going to talk about the video. You watched
that
the video?
literally made me cry at my desk. It's only a minute-long video, but it's just like all these beautiful shots of Philly, and then asking these girls when they're playing basketball. They asked one of the girls, "Who's your favorite basketball player?" And she says, "Me." Like, that's so cute. And they say how they want to be in the WNBA, and how now it'll be like easier for them to get into the W.
Yes.
And see the W players in their own city. Beautiful video. Videos make me cry.
It was a great video. Encourage you all to check it out. Go find it. It was Phila WNBA or WNBA Phila, something like that. I think that was the account that I saw on Twitter that posted it. But like, I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah, no, they have an Instagram, a Twitter. And then it's on the website, WNBA.com/Philadelphia.
That means they're going to paint some lines. They're going to be painting some lines in our city.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
I'd imagine.
And then there is a little Q&A. There's an FAQ section, which obviously they don't have many answers at this point, but some things that I think are interesting to discuss. One of the questions is, where will the team play? They will play in South Philadelphia alongside the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't really understand where the Flyers fit into all this, but that's obviously a different conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know for sure. Because is the new arena also going to be hockey again?
I don't know.
I don't know for sure. But the Flyers need a place to play, so they will still be. And I'm pretty sure the new arena in South Philly is for both again. But like, whatever. We'll know for sure.
And then one question is, where will the team practice? And they say a new state-of-the-art women's performance center will be built and dedicated to the WNBA Philadelphia team.
Nice.
So totally building a new performance center too.
They don't say where?
No.
Okay.
Maybe in Camden.
Okay. Sure. Which is where the men's facility is.
Yeah.
State-of-the-art facility.
This was so funny. One of the questions was, when will merchandise be available? And it says, buy our limited edition WNBA Philadelphia merchandise available now. And I click on it, and I just clicked on it too early, I guess.
Yeah.
It's literally 15 t-shirts of Sophie Cunningham.
Like, excuse me?
Like, what are you saying about this right now? But then, like, an hour or two later, it changed to be the like black shirts with the Philadelphia, Cleveland, Detroit wording, welcome to the W. I am not like in love with these shirts, but of course we got one.
Yeah. I'll wear it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to wear it.
I'll wear it around. Okay. And then the last like interesting question was, what will the team be named? It says the naming process will include input from the Philadelphia fan base and basketball communities.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. Honestly,
so I better get some kind of survey to put my input in.
Oh yeah, that would be good for sure. I did not realize that was something that was going to happen, so I appreciate that to whatever degree they decide to do that. Honestly, for me, all day, the texts that I was getting were constantly people asking like, "Do we know what the name is going to be? Do we know what the branding is going to be?" And I'm like, we don't even know what the Portland team that's supposed to be playing next year is going to be named. We might not know this for 4 years. We might not know this until 29. You got to get it right. So you have to take your time. You can't just rush and say, this is the name 5 years early. So like, it's going to be a little bit, but what were some of the names? Because we heard so many good names, so many bad names today, so many funny names. Like, what were some of your favorite?
My favorites?
In any of those categories.
Okay.
You'd be like, oh, this is a good bit.
Well, the funniest ones definitely like are surrounding like the numbers 76. We do have a highway numbered 76.
Yeah. I mean, the Sixers, of course, are 1776, not to be confused with the highway.
Right. But then there's also highways that are 676 and 476. So both of those are in consideration.
Bring them here. You told me 476. That's pretty silly.
That's so funny. The 76 hers.
Uh-huh.
No.
No, out on that.
Out. 70 Sisters.
70 Sisters, dude. Like and like with a nun logo. That was one of the ones that I saw.
I didn't see a nun logo.
Yes. Shout out to my Sixers Discord that were just like spitting different names. 70 Sisters was one of the good ones. Obviously, we went through the old rotation. There's the Philadelphia Rage, if we want to call back to the ABL. There, people were saying the Philadelphia Stars, bad name.
I don't think that's bad.
But it's a football name. There's like a
What does that mean?
a UFL league.
Okay, so like, since when can't we have a name that overlaps with one other thing?
You like Philadelphia Stars?
Yeah, and let me tell you why. Because
Please tell me why.
I want it to have something to do with the Sixers. I think that is nice.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
I think it has to, personally.
I mean, it doesn't have to, but I think it should.
Right.
There's a partnership. I think it should.
Josh Harris owns both. Yeah.
So it has to have something to do with like history around 1776.
Correct.
Ideally, it would have something to do with a woman that had something to do with 1776.
Correct.
The most prominent woman is Betsy Ross. We have our Betsy Ross house here.
Sure.
We have visited.
Yeah.
She made the flag.
Yeah.
I could go on her Wikipedia and look for some other Betsy Ross related words, but I think it does bring that in.
Sure. I just think it's unfortunate that we already had the Stars in the past.
Silver Stars.
We had the Stars with a Z.
Well, that was dumb.
Correct. The Utah Stars or whatever, Salt Lake City Stars. Like, unfortunately, I don't think we can go there. But yes.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yes,
to me.
you need to pick something connected to 1776. We heard somebody suggested the Lightning.
I like that too.
I like that. Obviously, there's a hockey team in Tampa Bay.
Well, I don't care.
I know.
There's multiple men's sports teams that have the same name.
That's true.
The Cardinals in football and baseball. Oh, one of them has to change their name.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
annoying me. It's annoying me when people are saying, oh, that's some crazy team somewhere else. We can't have that.
Like, I really liked my leader in the clubhouse until it was already like shot down was the Philadelphia Revolution, because 1776, pretty perfect.
I personally just think it's a little much.
Sure, but I like the way it's a singular word too. It's a concept. W likes to do that concept stuff, and then people are like, oh, that's an MLS team. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. I think the only one, honestly, that like checks the box of good name plus isn't another sports, and correct me if I'm wrong, send us an email at attackthebaseline@gmail.com. I do think Philadelphia Freedom is probably the lob, like the softball.
That's the easy answer.
I think it's the easy answer, and I think that I would be shocked if that's not like one of the 4 options when we narrow it down here.
Yeah, but I think it's like a little too close to the Liberty.
Yeah, well, we should be the Philadelphia Liberty.
Yeah, I know. And like so many people are saying that on Twitter when they just like don't know that there
you don't
is
pay attention
already
to the
a
W.
team called the Liberty.
Correct.
Okay, that's no.
No, just how about you go look up the other 13 teams?
So I really don't want to get too stuck on a name or else I will be disappointed. So I really don't want to be disappointed. I feel like we have to address the Philadelphia Bells.
Yes.
Because almost everyone's saying that as well.
I used to think it was good, and then I thought about it, and then I was like,
I'm okay with it if it does not have the E at the end.
because it's too southern.
A bell.
Yes.
Well, because it's too women.
Right.
But
not almost in a more derogatory way.
Yeah, and I'm a professional athlete. I'm not saying I'm not a woman, but the point is that's not the point.
Right. You want to be tough.
I don't need to be tough.
Is that? But yeah, I know what you're saying.
So yeah, I would be okay
if it's BELLS.
That I would be fine with. But then it's also we know you're talking about the Liberty Bell, and Liberty is somewhere else already.
Right
So
up
that's
95.
Also a little bit too much.
Agreed.
Some other just like funny ones. Philadelphia cream cheeses.
Uh-huh.
Philadelphia cheesesteaks.
Can't
that
do
was
that.
popular. Philadelphia sisters.
Philadelphia pretzels. Was that
Yes.
on there?
Probably. Philadelphia Independence.
Nah,
No.
out on that.
Because it's also, would you say indie? Well, that's somewhere else.
Correct.
So
Can't
we're
have that.
really running into a lot of like dead ends here.
I think there's a banger that I'm just like not thinking of.
Somebody said a name as equally as numerical as the Sixers would be fun, like the title Niners.
Stop.
But then someone in the comments is like, San Francisco has the Niners.
They can't be the title Niners. That's pretty goofy.
That was goofy. Someone said the Phillies, like with an F, like a horse.
Yes, like a horse.
Okay.
We don't need another horse mascot.
Someone said the 20s, where the 20s was women's suffrage. That's
No.
horrible.
That's-
Sorry.
That's rough.
Someone said the Nationals.
Get that out of here. Bye.
Someone said the Novas, which I know
Okay.
you hate.
Maddie Segrist. Shout out Maddie Segrist. Uh-huh. Who's going to be on this team? I'm thinking about all the people that are going to be on the team. Maddie Segrist is going to be on the team. Ka.
Oh, wait, this one is funny. Philadelphia Quakers.
Oh, okay. I don't love that either.
That's funny.
I'm wondering if there's another word for flag.
So many people were saying fire. Like, but Portland is just about to be the fire, so
My brothers and sisters, go learn. Listen to the pod. I'm wondering if there's another word for flag that like is a cooler word that has to connect to Betsy Ross.
okay.
Like there's flag, banner, symbol, emblem. I'm like, obviously all these are bad. I'm not suggesting any of these, but like what are some synonyms for flag?
Well, someone else was also saying it should be the Franklins. Like for Ben Franklin, do you not respect the mascot of the Sixers?
Right.
Whose name is Franklin?
Right. I thought of the Philadelphia Kites, and you could do a bird mascot because there's a bird that's a kite. And I was like, are they native to Pennsylvania? But they're really only like randomly, sporadically. So a swallow-tailed kite. Check it out.
Okay.
But like that would work. I'm like thinking about what these people did. The Keys. Have we said the Keys? Like the Keystone State? I don't know.
Key is not keys. I don't love that.
No.
So yeah, maybe a flag word, maybe a ship word.
Oh, boat word?
Could be a boat word.
The sails.
Crossing the Delaware. There's something.
Okay, all right.
I respect Ben Franklin,
Do you?
I guess.
I guess.
So like lightning is not bad. Oh,
Bifocals?
our friend Chris,
Mm-hmm.
currently a fan of the Phoenix Mercury, but has said he will be letting them go
Yep.
when Philly gets a team, unfortunately for them.
Well, Ka's going to be here anyway.
His recommendation, which is great, is the Philadelphia Sound,
Yes. Yes.
because that has something to do with a bell, but it's not just bell.
Sure.
Someone also said ringers.
I was about to
like,
say.
what?
The rings? No. Can't do that.
So we'll take suggestions.
Yeah, send us an email. Let us know if you have any super creative ones that you haven't heard that you need to know. Because we will let you know. We're going to talk about this for the next 5 years. So if you get a stroke of genius, let us know at any of those places.
Yeah, when we had been talking about it, hypothetically, when Philly gets a team, it'll probably be like 2028 or 2029. That seems like so far away for me.
Right.
But now that it's announced 2030, I'm like, that's not that far from now.
No, I'll make it.
I can get there.
Right.
It's not that far.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. I'm
There you
like,
go.
that'll just carry me
Yeah,
through everything else.
Absolutely. Even it was earlier this week that article came out that said that Philly was the front runner for the 17th team. And in this case, they're going to be the 18th team. Because we should mention that, like, if you didn't see the news story, it's also going to be Detroit in 2029, and it's going to be Cleveland in 2028. So Philadelphia's coming here at the end. And that's because it lines up with, you know, when the new arena is going to be built in South Philly.
So something that could potentially be interesting is that in the Q&A section at the end of this press conference, one of the questions was to the Cleveland and the Detroit men. Are they thinking that they're going to keep their old names, Rockers and Shock, or are they going to start thinking about other names? The Detroit guy didn't really say one way or another.
Okay.
But the Cleveland guy basically said, like, they want to pay homage to the Rockers and to their past, but the city is in a different place than it was 30 years ago, and they want to be inclusive of everyone in the city, and they want to be able to forge into a different future. So that says to me, perhaps Cleveland is not considering Rockers, but I saw something for a different Detroit team. But I do think Detroit could do Shock. Someone said Detroit could do The Drive.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I think that would be
is good.
Really good.
That's really good. I like that. It's 5 letters. It works. I think that's perfect. You get the D and the D. That's nice.
Like, that is perfect. Cleveland, I don't know.
No.
You can figure that out.
I don't know.
But no Rockers, that sounds good to me.
But yeah, I mean, Kristen and I recorded a podcast that you're going to hear at the end of this week where we talk about Portland. And, you know, there was the news that came out that they patented again, or they booked the trademarks again for the Fire. And, you know, July 15th is when they're supposed to announce their branding. And we talked about it on that pod that, like, does it make sense to, you know, be renamed? This is our guest, our friend of the pod, Matthew, said, like, do I want a name of a franchise that folded, like, after a couple years? Like, does Cleveland wants to pay homage, but, like, do they want to be tied to a franchise that, you know, ultimately didn't work out? It might be time for a fresh start, from something new, something to get people more excited, even though people are obviously excited for the Rockers, are obviously excited for the idea of the Fire. But, like, I think it makes sense to just try some new names. Whatever those are going to end up being, we will see.
And someone else also asked in the press conference, Kathy, what were some other cities that didn't get teams? Like, are we done talking about expansion right now? Or could there be more in the future? And Kathy basically said, like, yeah, we're still looking at Houston. She said Houston has such a great ownership group, has such a great history. She said we're still eyeing Houston. But that's all she said.
Got it. Because I really didn't compartmentalize it today that, like, Detroit kind of is out of nowhere for me.
That it kind of is, yeah.
Obviously, they were in the pipeline, but, like, we were under the assumption that it was going to be Houston as the, like, given, and that Philly was going to be, like, that underdog here in this conversation. But it ends up being Detroit and Philly as the 17th and 18th. I shouldn't say last because, you know, maybe they have dreams of expanding to 20, to 24, someday to 30. Who knows?
Yeah. But not in the next rest of the decade.
Correct.
And I think we're good. Like, I think it was great that they announced this before this whole new CBA situation. Also, stay tuned for our little conversation about the CBA. But it just really helps to figure this stuff out before you're going into this new CBA. So you can plan for it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, if they pushed this off and announced these expansion teams after this new CBA was written up, it would just change everything again. And then the current CBA would be out of touch.
Exactly.
So I think it's great that they're doing this at this time.
Well, and who knows, by 2030, there might honestly be another CBA. Or there'll be a
negotiation. I think it was 5 years.
There'll be a negotiation for the next one.
Right.
But, like, now they can process
it gives
18
you the outlook,
teams,
like, where we're going towards.
And roster sizes and all of that important things. Yes. So, All this to say, big day for the city of Philadelphia. I am thrilled. Kristen is thrilled. All of you listeners, I appreciate all of those congratulations. And this is going to be something that we're going to be talking about for years to come.
This is the pod for the Philadelphia WNBA team.
That's right. That's right. This will be the only podcast for the Philly WNBA team. And eventually, when we have that team, there's going to be a dedicated feed. So you can get all that content. But ATB is still going to be a for the league podcast here. But we will victory lap a little bit that we have something to look forward to. And of course, big asterisk, it must be approved by the NBA and WNBA Board of Governors. But I do think that's more of a formality at this point. The fact that Kathy is out there saying this means it's real. And it is not something that if you gut checked me, I was confident, but I don't know if I would have been 100% confident. And it is very cool to be here and being in the city that has an opportunity to be a very special part of the WNBA.
Should we now talk about the other big news of the day?
Yeah, what the heck was that?
Which was a huge out of nowhere trade of NaLyssa Smith to the Aces for their 2027 first round pick. And then the Aces also waived Tiffany Mitchell and Liz Kitley.
Yes.
And then the Wings are, as you said, re-signing, unsuspending the contracts of Louisa Giesel-Soder and Tiara McCowan as they come back from Eurobasket. So in a certain sense, I think it does make sense that Dallas was shopping around these bigs that they have.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot now. Especially they just got Leah Rue. So they were kind of in an awkward situation. So I don't fault Dallas at all. And I think, if you ask me, I think Dallas won this trade. They get an extra first round pick, which is huge in this upcoming draft. And NaLyssa Smith is still a free agent next year. The Aces are only getting half a season out of her.
Right.
And they were so high on at least Liz Kitley in the beginning of the season. And then now just threw her out the window.
Right.
So kind of weird from the Aces. Clearly they are struggling, and I don't fault them for trying something different and, doing some kind of trade to try to get better. But it's just weird. I really don't understand why they hate drafts. They haven't had a first round draft pick in 3 years now, and now they won't have one next year. So, if you ask me, why are the Aces struggling? I think part of it's because they haven't had a first round pick in 4 years, and they continue to not have first round picks. So, very peculiar situation in Las Vegas. And then totally, clearly didn't say anything about this to NaLyssa or to Dejanay.
Yes.
Both of them were, shocked on Twitter. And Dejanay posting her little broken heart. That's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. My immediate reactions were Kurt Miller, GM of the Dallas Wings, when you're offered a first round pick for NaLyssa Smith, you kind of have to take it. No ifs, ands, or buts. A lot of people are saying that this is a Dallas fleece. If you expect the bulk of some of the main contributors, if you expect Asia Wilson to still be an ace in 2027, which we would at this time, despite everything that's going to happen in free agency next year, obviously the team will be good. The team will be competitive. So that pick, you'd expect it to be at worst 10, maybe, because now there's going to be another team, two more teams theoretically in the draft there. So maybe 10, 11, 12, something like that. End of the first round draft pick. But as we saw last year, as we saw this year, first round talent is starting to get much better. And, obviously it's going to be different with the CBA. The contracts are going to be different. This year, especially, these rookie scale contracts are going to be a steal. Paige Beckers is going to be on a steal next year compared to what some of her peers are going to be making. But yes, you said it. it would make sense for this Aces team to try to consider an infusion of young talent. However, when you put into consideration the future CBA, the team that has Asia Wilson is going to attract high-level free agents, max-level free agents. So Aces are going to do what the Aces do, and they're going to have at least 4 contracts of very expensive players that is going to be your core, and they're going to work from that. So like, you don't need first round picks, because I had a friend reach out to me and in my Sixers Discord and say like, what's the value of a first round pick in the W? And I said like, they're getting better. And, you know, someone said like, well, if it's the end of the first round, is it just makes sense to deal it for a talented player? And I said, yes, in some cases it is, but the security of having somebody under contract that's good for 4 years is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Now, where I'm at is I get the Aces wanting to do this because they've been looking for a big all season to help them, to spare Asia, to give her help because she's been carrying much of the load. I just don't know, and no disrespect to NaLyssa, if this was the right place to throw that first round pick. I have to imagine, like, last week, you probably could have gotten Leah Rue for a second. Mm-hmm. And look, Leah Rue is going to be the one staying in Dallas. And look at the way that Dallas is improving with Leah Rue in the rotation there. It's funny that we even talked about this last week on the MIDI, that like there's going to be a problem with all the bigs in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And now here we are. It sucks so bad for Dejanay because clearly the two of them, Dejanay and NaLyssa, were so excited to be together in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And now who knows where Dejanay goes after this season. I wouldn't stick Dejanay long-term in Dallas. No. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Would be interesting if she went and got a bag from the Aces in the off season and that they just ended up moving to Vegas together.
I mean, she would not be bad on the Aces. She wouldn't start.
No.
But she would not be bad.
Right. It's just, it was really shocking to have all this other expansion news and then to have this. I still feel like I'm reconciling with it. Yeah. And then to have the 2 cuts as well. Like, you didn't, at least if I remember correctly, like NaLyssa's cap number, I just looked it up, is like 92,000. Tiffany Mitchell was making over 100 something. And then Elizabeth Kitley, you cut her too. So you cut more salary than you needed. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're cutting Elizabeth Kitley, which NaLyssa is expected to take her minutes. So I'm just curious what their other move is going to be. Who are they going to sign on a minimum? Maybe now that the season's, the Eurobasket's over. Mm-hmm. Maybe they give Raquel Carrera a call. I don't know. They're whoever was the hottest player in Eurobasket, come play for Vegas. We've got problems. We've got minutes available. Now that Tiffany Mitchell is out, who was heavily in the rotation. I don't know. There's a lot of puzzle pieces to still put together here.
I think we also have to mention DeWanna Bonner.
Yes.
Because
still unsigned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She cleared waivers on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Here we are on Monday, still not signed. I think people were assuming, she'll be signed to Phoenix as soon as she can. Right. But that has not happened.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't a rush job.
Maybe she's just taking some time off. Mm-hmm. She thinks, after the All-Star break, I'll come back.
Could be.
Because a little break's coming up. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Or does she sign in Vegas?
She could.
She could.
That's at least closer to Phoenix than Indiana was.
Correct.
To be with Alyssa Thomas. Mm-hmm. So that situation still stays weird.
Yes. But who knows? Like tomorrow or 2 hours from now, there could be news that DeWanna Bonner is signing with the Mercury, and I would be like, okay, it's not that weird. She has some room to negotiate. It's not just a guaranteed minimum, but like most likely going to be a league minimum or a veteran minimum because that's how all these teams kind of need to operate with where they're at in terms of the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an exciting day.
Okay, yeah. Insane day.
Yeah, we're going to see, obviously, how NaLyssa Smith fares. We have the Aces coming up. That's going to be the next team that we get to talk about. So
next week.
Fortunately, we're going to get to see some Aces basketball with NaLyssa in the rotation.
True.
And I'm very curious to see how that works, honestly. Look, we timed it perfectly. We knew this was going to happen and made the schedule as so.
But so look out for the Aces next week. This week, still to come, is our talk of the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully you have that in your podcast feed. If not, tomorrow, the day after that. Obviously, we didn't expect the major news drop to sort of push everything back a little bit.
Yes, the Commissioner's Cup is tomorrow.
Hoping to do a pod about that too.
Yeah.
At least just the game.
But this is what we're here for. This is the news.
This is major news. So we had to be here for our listeners.
Yep.
So just want to thank you for supporting Attack the Baseline. Again, if you'd be so kind as to leave a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform it is that you're listening to, maybe subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to TikTok, or follow us on TikTok, follow us on Bluesky, Instagram at ATBPod. Send us an email if you'd be so kind, attackthebaseline@gmail.com. Let us know how you're feeling, how excited you are about Detroit or Cleveland or Philadelphia.
Pause. Full list of all-star starters revealed.
We might as well just go through that.
Okay. Starters.
More breaking news.
All-star starters pool. So this is the top 10 vote getters.
Not necessarily just vote getters.
Okay. Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, who
captains.
were earlier in the week both named captains. Aaliyah Boston.
Okay.
Paige Beckers.
Okay.
Alicia Gray.
My goat.
Sabrina Ionescu. Nneka Ogwumike, which I'm happy for that. I've been voting for her. I didn't see much hype around Nneka, but I'm happy for that. Satu Sabali.
Nice.
Also good. Brianna Stewart. And Asia Wilson.
Nice. Okay. I don't think there's any shockers there. Obviously, Paige being a starter as a rookie is, I guess that's a shocker. I don't know if Caitlin was a starter. Now that I think about it, I think Caitlin was.
Well, last year was weird because it was
against the Olympics too.
There were only 5 starters.
True.
Because
limited roster
of the Olympics. Yeah.
But dang. Okay. All right. Alicia Gray.
Who's left off? I guess Angel Reese.
Yeah. Angel's a star. Angel will be an all-star. She'll be a reserve.
Right. Exactly.
Natasha Cloud wasn't necessarily going to be a starter. But she should be a reserve. Who are the other obvious ones? Jackie Young. No Jackie Young.
No
Chelsea Gray.
I would say no Kelsey Plum.
No Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum got a lot of late buzz there.
Yeah,
I could have been expecting
to
that.
represent a different team. Because we have 2 Liberties and we have 2 Fevers here.
Right.
You just know Caitlin Clark. They get to pick, right? Who's on their team?
Yeah, Caitlin's going to take Aaliyah instead of Asia if she has the first pick.
Annoying AF. Sorry. This is a fun game. Try something different.
Sure. Especially when you're going up against Fee.
Right.
Might behoove you to take Asia, but who knows? No diss on Aaliyah Boston.
No, of course not. I just want I think it would be fun for them to play against each other instead of.
Right, because if you don't pick her, then Fee's gonna pick Asia, and then it's gonna be well,
right.
Now we got the last year's MVP, and we've got this year's predicted MVP.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Crazy.
Okay, so All-Star game next week, 2 weeks from now.
I think it's 2 weeks from now, but we're gonna find out the All-Star reserves on the 6th, I believe.
Okay.
So the rest of, and that's all decided by the coaches. But we'll keep you up to date once we know the All-Stars. We'll probably react to the reserves as well. But this is a little breaking news. Now that we know what the starters are and our immediate feelings, I'm just happy for Alicia Gray. I'm continuing to push the Alicia Gray first team All W. I believe it. She's one of the best guards in the league right now, and she deserves these accolades. Shout out Alicia. Awesome. Well, good stuff. Honestly, that's going to do it for our emergency pod, talking about the expansion news in Philadelphia and Detroit and Cleveland. and the trade of NaLyssa Smith to Las Vegas. But Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back later to talk about the Connecticut Sun, which we already recorded. Bye.